morning planting my marigold seeds. Now I wanted to show you a few that I am adding here that I bought from various places. This here, of course, we're looking at Baker Creek. This is an absolutely glorious marigold, Mr. Majestic Double. Queen Sophia is magical. We'll go back and post some video links so you can see how they grew last year. This is a Fairy and Morse variety that I've been using for several years. My friend shared with me some random crimson that she calls crimson marigolds. I have so many marigold varieties right now, and I keep their seeds in the shed. And you'll see what their actual seed heads look like that I sowed, so you'll never have to buy marigolds again. These I bought a few years ago. Sorry, we have a lot of helicopter action out here. Every year I sow my marigold, or when I sow my marigolds, I kind of do it in a very haphazard way, but they show up. Now, sometimes marigolds can cross-pollinate and you get some mutation of marigold. Everything that I'm growing is absolutely stunning. Now, you can see what these guys look like. Some marigold seeds are bigger than others, but they do grow very, very easily. They're very, very easy to harvest, and I usually keep most of them in envelopes where I mark what they are. But the display that happens out here is so incredible. Every year I make sure that I harvest my own seed and I plant them early, and I try to do it before a big rain, a drenching rain, and right before warm temperatures hit the garden. I think I may have picked the crappiest day in the world to do this. I'll tell you, my body aches, but the rain is coming. It delivers such good nitrogen to the seeds that, you know, they're, like they say, no pain, no gain. So I'm about to dig into my pile of seeds here so I can have a good variety of marigolds through the garden. And this is, like I said, one of the most important flowers that I plant through the garden because it really does help to repel the leaf-footed bug in the tomatoes. So we have beds of marigolds that go all around every single bed, and you do have to prune them though, because you'll see as we go through the season that the marigolds can be aggressive. Something else that you can do is you can take your marigolds as they become aggressive, prune them down, and then take the flower heads and soak them in water. And what happens is you create like an automatic insect repellent that you can use to spray. So the oil, the name of the oil that it produces escapes me right now, but I'll write it down below. You know, is so beneficial. Not many people know that you can create your own spray just from soaking marigold heads. So here again is an opportunity where I'll just take random cups, and I have container after container of marigold heads. And look how beautifully the flower dries. So I can see that this is like one of those majestics where it is orange and yellow with little red stripes on it. And then when you open it up, there's just a cluster of seeds inside. So this is a good way for you to know what varieties you're actually harvesting seed for. Also, in another envelope container here, I have envelopes where I wrote a better description, since some of them do look similar. So once you decide where it is that you want to plant your marigolds, I like to come around in all of these little cells here in this cement block. And this is where we go ahead and we sow our seeds. Now, harvesting, like I said, harvesting marigold seeds is very, very, very easy. So you see all of the seeds that come out? They're all dried. They've been drying all season. One little tiny flower head will give you hundreds and hundreds of seeds. Once you grow marigolds, you guys, you never have to buy them again. Oh well, so the rain had its way with me. I just couldn't take it anymore. So it's so raw out there, and it's not pouring, but it's cold. So I stopped harvesting all of my wonderful marigold seeds to come inside and talk to you about marigold seeds. These guys are really relatively expensive and inexpensive. And if you go back to the Lowe's video that I was just at, they wanted $4 for a small cell of marigolds, and they were all these French type of double marigolds. Now these guys, these yellow guys and these orange ones here that I got this years ago. I have harvested thousands, and I'm saying this loosely, thousands and thousands of seeds from these. I don't have to buy these anymore. I only bought these because they were different. These packages here are so worth it. These put on a show in the garden. And we'll add a couple clips as I'm talking here of some of the marigolds that grew in our yard. And I mean, they attract pollinators up until the very end, up until frost. There's bees out there having such a wonderful time on the marigolds. And we really didn't have any leaf-footed bugs last year. When they do show up, we're able to just grab them quickly and get rid of them. But the marigolds really repel them. If you grow tomatoes, leaf-footed bugs love tomatoes and they love peppers. So that's something that I want you to consider. But getting onto the topic of beneficial flowers for your garden, there are several things that we grow. Buckwheat. This again is another flower that grows so prolifically, it goes to seed and you will never have to buy buckwheat again. I have this variety here. I have, you can't see the picture of it, but this is, I think this is a white one. There's white, red, and pink buckwheat that I have in here in my vast box of flower collection. Hold on for a second, I'll show you. So I keep a shoebox at this point full of flowers that I grow and collect seeds from. Some were, some really came out well and some didn't. I'm getting new into zinnias this year, but borage, oh my goodness. This year I'm growing white borage. For the past couple years I've been growing the beautiful blue borage that I have from Botanical Interest, and I also have some from Baker Creek. This attracts all sorts of pollinators and repels all sorts of insects. Very, very critical. The calendula is, oh my gosh, gorgeous. The bees love, love, love the calendula. Here's another type of buckwheat that is very, very beneficial. It puts off these beautiful flowers. Sorry about that. That was screaming Aki. We do have parrots, so you guys, you may hear a loud screech like that from time to time. I apologize. So I was talking about the buckwheat. This is critical. Now, what happens with buckwheat is buckwheat actually is considered a ground cover, and this is soba, which is grown in Japan. This is highly nutritious. And while soba is growing in your garden, it actually pulls nutrients that are deep in the soil up to the surface so the roots of other things can feed off of it. It's considered a soil fixer. It's considered a ground crop. And you can let it grow tall enough that just before it goes to seed, you mow it down, which means you basically chop the heads off, you leave the roots in, and then it will re-sow. And if you get to it before it actually goes to flower and seed, you won't have an invasive problem. If you let it continue to go to seed and you don't harvest the seed and you don't mow it down, you'll have buckwheat in your garden for all eternity. And it's not really a bad thing. It's just if you're not prepared for that, it's going to be, something that you want to know. So another important thing that I grow in the garden to repel insects is basic mustard. Now, we have been getting invasions of these things called harlequin beetles, and one day you have one, and then 3 days later you have 100. They look pretty, but they're not friendly. We'll insert a picture of them for you. They love mustard. So what I've been doing is growing mustard from seed, and this variety here has been very successful. I put it in a small pot and I put them in random places in the garden. So there's certain things like the loopers, the cabbage loopers, some of the harlequin beetles, and some other random pests that will come through love the mustard. So you'll go out one day and all of a sudden your mustard will be just covered in an invasive species. At that point, if your pot is small enough, you can just take a plastic bag or whatever type of disposal method you're going to use, and you just cover the whole entire pot, and the bugs stay on the leaves, and you snip the leaves at the base, and now you've got all of your bugs contained. And then you have to dispose of it. You can't add that to your compost or just randomly throw it loose. You need to close that bag tight and destroy these bugs, or they will destroy your garden. The harlequin bugs, the first year they came, we didn't know what they were and we let them go. They ravaged our garden, ravaged. Another beneficial flower here that I plant that I think is important is nasturtium. I have several varieties here of the mixed jewel blend. I have tons of it in my flower box of seeds here. These are easy to grow. You just want to soak them overnight. Give them a little nail file so that you take some of their hard casing off of the outside. Let them soak and then direct sow them. You don't have to start these indoors to worry about it. They do catch up rather quickly, and you'll notice that they attract butterflies and they also attract leaf miners. So a leaf miner that might go to your tomatoes or something else that's beautiful and leafy, you'll see actually mining through the leaves of the nasturtium plant. So this is considered a catch crop. This will help you to, catch bad, detrimental insects. At the same time, it's going to attract beneficial insects. So nasturtium is really, really important. Goes right up there with the benefits of having the marigold. Same thing with the borage. The bugs don't like the smell of borage. So it's just really great to plant around your tomatoes and your strawberries. The butterflies love it. It puts on an absolute show. Now I have a whole entire collection of cosmos. This cosmos and this cosmos here. We have the candy floss and the apricot lemonade. The butterflies love this. The bees love this. This is so beautiful. This is a little tricky to grow. Once it grows, it doesn't look like your basic bright lights, which is another one that grows very, very easily. It has a different fern-like leaf that it grows. So it looks a little bit different. Once it finally shows up, it shows up and it's an absolutely beautiful flower, but please, you guys, be patient with this. These, again, get direct sowed. The candy floss, I loved it so much, I bought an extra pack. The thing about these two cosmos is that their seed heads are very, very small, and it's really hard as you harvest them to sit and sift through them to get the actual seed out. Each head doesn't always produce a seed. I've learned this from experience. Now, I said earlier in another video, we don't have all of the answers, but when I do have the answers and I'm for certain about something, I'm going to let you know very, very firmly. I know for a fact what these guys do. This particular cosmos, without a doubt, grows profound. It produces a seed head that is very, very similar to the marigold in shape and texture. You'll notice as they're growing and they go to seed, if you're working in the garden, they'll be stuck all over you like little burrs. You'll have little cosmos seeds all over you. Once you put this bright lights cosmos in your garden, you will always have it. And if you walk out and pull their seed heads off and put them in an envelope, they will last for years and years and years. Here's two new types that I'm not really sure what these guys are going to do yet. These are new to me. I have a feeling that these are probably going to be a little bit difficult to germinate and harvest seed from, similar to the apricot lemonade. And then this thing here, which I feel like I shouldn't have bought this. I didn't realize that they, for $5, you only get 4 seeds, and they're really, really difficult to germinate. but I'm going to try because I saw them on one of the influencers in the UK, and they have a beautiful herbaceous border, and they were growing these chocolate cosmos, and I thought I absolutely have to have them. So I went ahead and bought them. Now, again, I have zinnias. I bought, when I went to Sprouts, I can attach the video, they have an actual turnstile of botanical interest seeds. Here's another nasturtium variety that I got. Another new calendula. I cannot wait. Another nasturtium. Chives, you guys. Chives and allium are the same. So chives produce these beautiful little Dr. Seuss, this is a Seussish term that I use, that these flowers remind me of Dr. Seuss. Chives, you don't have to eat them, but I love chives. I cook chives in many of our foods that I'll add broccoli, or not broccoli, garlic and onions too. And if you know, chives have a very garlicky flavor to them, and these are delicious. But this flower attracts a lot of pollinators, and the scapes repel deer, they repel rabbits, they repel all sorts of things. So if you plant chives around some things that you're trying to protect, a lot of stuff will be deterred. I mean, it's not going to proof it, but it will deter because they just don't like the fragrance of it. So this is just some ideas that I wanted to throw at you while I was already pulling out my box of flower seeds. I have so many in here, I don't even know where to begin to mention. So here's one thing I'm going to leave you with. Last year was the first year I planted chamomile with hopes to harvest its heads and let them dry and save them so I can add them to Aki's food, because chamomile is known for its calming effects and it is safe for parrots. And Aki suffers from anxiety and he screams all the time. He screams because there's a bird on a tree down the street. It drives me crazy. I should have more chamomile in my life to keep me calm over it. But the thing about chamomile, it grows super, super easy. It grows so easy that it sows itself all over your yard, and it can become very, very invasive. So get to know the leaves and the patterns of how your chamomile grows wild in your garden, because it will pop up everywhere. I have so much of it, I feel bad. I'm actually going to be ripping it out and getting rid of it. So you'll know what it looks like when you go to weed, because I would say I planted my chamomile and I have chamomile popping up for, I don't know, 35, 40 feet of space that extends past the original pot. So keep that in mind when you plant chamomile. But anyway, you guys, this was just supposed to be a quick idea of what flowers you can plant in your garden as you're getting ready to plant your tomatoes and your peppers and all of your spring, summer garden out. It's time, you guys, it's time to plant. So get to know what flowers you can direct sow out there now. It's not too late to go get your beneficial flowers for your garden. Your pollinators will thank you. Your garden needs these flowers. Maybe not chamomile. You might need the chamomile for yourself after who knows what the weather's going to bring this year. But the most simple thing I can tell you to grow, you guys, marigolds. They really do make a difference. So anyway, you guys, thanks for spending time with me talking about flowers, and I'll see you in the next video.